So here comes dependency lists. I've tried to really throw in dependency lists almost throughout the entire thing here on what file depends on another to get things done. Your overall setup in your Makefile is going to be your target, which is your command, your dependency 1, dependency 2, and then your command of what you want to do with it eventually. And that's actually really on another line. So I don't want you to think that's all on one line here. And I'll show you an example here in a moment. So that's the important part and I've explained each part of this. Now, consider the following programming here. Now, I'm showing you the text version first, and then I'm going to show you the graph here. I'm hoping the graph will actually make more sense. But we're going to have a driver.cpp, that's the main driver of the program, duh, a point.cpp, a point.h, a square.cpp, and a square.h, all combined within one class. Now let's take a look at the graph. So in the graph, this should make a little bit more sense, is that when we are going ahead and we're doing our includes, our main needs to include our point.h and our square.h, or a driver, I should say, not main, but it is true, it's within me, whatever. But anyway, driver is going to go ahead and include those two items. But notice our next thing back is from the CPPs, we're going to compile, link them with the objects, and at the very end, we're going to have our output or our driver.out. So that's the dependency is the other way around there. What does driver.out need in order for it to do its job? First is the objects of each one of those. So you'll notice also what's being highlighted right now is all of the different objects that are in this. Now, the driver is not an object, as you know, it's not a class, but it's a helper set of functions or file that's helping organize and instantiate all of the points and squares that we have in our code. So I'm bringing that up because main needs to still include our point.h and our square.h in order for it to do its work and then go from there. We're going to show you code on that here in a second, the overall code, C++ code here on that in a second. But let me show you the last part. So here's what your Makefile is going to look like for that particular project grouping and dependency list. So first, if we want to do it all, compile it all, we got our driver.o, point.o, and square.o. And again, these are pointing to all the variables that we have right here. Second part is that, well, our point objects requires a CPP file and the .h. And notice, though, when we compile this, we're only doing the point.cpp. For our other dependency is our square.cpp and the square.h. And again, notice that we're just compiling the .cpp of square because it's including the header of square.h. And then the driver is doing the exact same thing. So there's really nothing spectacular about having this. So when you're setting this up, your dependencies are very linear. We have to be careful that they don't end up being circular and that the one depends on another, then depends on another, and then it comes back and does the same thing. So be very careful about that. Notice main is the one that includes the other ones into it. And then the other objects like point and shape are they're kind of tight-knit, meaning they only include, the .cpp may include the .h of point. That's it. That's all it does. The shape.cpp includes the shape.h. That's it. It doesn't include driver or anything else like that. It's just very, very fundamentally sound when it comes to just including each other or having the source include the .h. So we've got to be careful about that as well. So that's your overall dependency list when it comes to your Makefile and this overall setup. And then when you execute make and you're going to have this happen, you're going to have errors pop up. And it's usually because of one of these four options. The target doesn't exist. The target's overall dependency list is bad or something like that. A command could be off. There's a lot of little aggravating features that can happen. So I'm hoping with all the examples that we have here that, frankly, it'll reduce that